Rolling.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. For some reason, I'm happier than normal, and we're gonna get to that. Normally, I just do the top of the show stuff, but I just want to introduce some topics. We'll be talking about Man United smashing, crushing, and decimating Southampton. We'll be talking about player abuse by fans on Twitter, the social media, or however. Uh, Jesse Lingard uh, scoring goals for West Ham in the transfer window. Brighton Hove. We got a Chelsea game tomorrow coming up against Tottenham, and Martin's here for that, and Neil's here to talk about that. And we got Barcelona, and we have Moha here. He's a Barcelona fan, and we're going to talk about how scummy his club is. But we'll get to all of that. But if you're listening to the Soccer Comic Rant, you can listen to it on. We just changed to Omni. We're on iTunes, Libsyn, Stitcher. Like and subscribe on all those platforms. Give a thumbs up, positive review, and if you're watching it on YouTube. Or if you're hearing that you can watch it on YouTube, go to Ian Edwards at YouTube, or Martin, turn your volume of your flight announcement off. Just mute yourself. Thank you very much. Martin's in an airport, so he's ruining the intro, with his flight announcement. But if you want to watch it on YouTube, like and subscribe if you are. And if you want to watch it on YouTube, Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards, like and subscribe. Pass this shit around, tell your friends. And we got a diverse group of football enthusiasts for this episode. Want to thank Aaron Brungard, the producer. And also, I forget this sometimes, All Things Comedy. This podcast can be heard on All Things Comedy. Go there, and there's a host and list of some of the best comics in America, and they all have their own podcast there. So go there and check it out. And our sponsor is OnTheVolleyApparel.com, and go to On The Volley Apparel, and they have tanks, tees, hoodies, and sweatshirts. And use my promo code Comic Rant and get 20% off. But let's get to this, because if we don't, Martin can only be here for a short time, and he has to catch a flight, and he might have just left to catch it. So you just see his email. So everybody has Martin's email, so they can email him about his bullshit comments that he's gonna make coming up. We have Moha. He's a Barcelona fan, and he's been on the show once, and he knows his football. And there's also a comic that lives in LA. He's born in Switzerland. Is it Switzerland or Sweden? Sweden, yeah. I knew it was one of the widest European countries.
I mean,
that starts with an S.
It's kind of sad. Americans never know the difference between Sweden and Switzerland.
It's not that we don't know the difference. It's just close.
Yeah.
Sweden, Switzerland. It's like that's tomato. That's the tomato of countries, if you ask me. You know what I mean? I'm sure I'm sure Neil gets India, Pakistan mixed up sometimes.
Sri Lanka.
Did you just say I get India, Pakistan mixed up sometimes?
No, some people have to guess. If they want to guess your nationality, they might guess Indian or Pakistan. Yeah, they get that.
Because I was going to say, if this is going to go on the internet, you're going to get me into trouble.
No. But we have Neil, by way of India, lives in San Diego, comic, and he's a Chelsea fan. And the last person I want to introduce is the bravest person we've ever had on this podcast, even though he's been on this podcast several times, is Lee Hudson, comic from England, Southampton fan, who is defending his shirt by not only coming on the podcast, he's defending his shield, but not only coming on the podcast, but by wearing the shirt of the team that was decimated by Manchester United, my team, yesterday. And I just wish that his team had gone as hard as he is going now to defend the shield yesterday, and then there'd be less embarrassment. But for real, Lee, you're a man and you came on the show, and fuck it. So there's a bunch of things to talk about first, but let's just get the smashing. I don't know if Martin is here. We could talk about Tottenham versus Chelsea tomorrow, but I think he's gone. He's gone. And that's my bad because I came on late, so he's gone. But let's talk about the Southampton Man United practice session that we had at our home ground, where we invited a decimated squad with injuries from Southampton. I gotta admit that. Your 9 of your starters were out, and you came to play a Premier League game. Why did you guys pretend to have COVID and get the game called off? Like some of the other teams have done in the league. That's just as coaching isn't always about like setting up and strategizing. It's also getting out of and avoiding an ass whooping and playing when it's more advantageous to your team. So number one, why didn't you guys do that? You have 9 starters out.
We're just too honest.
Too honest. All right. So honesty gets you nowhere. So what did you think of the game yesterday?
It doesn't help when, like you say, we had those like all these starting players out, and then we give some kids a chance, and one of them decides he's gonna try and assault McTominay with a tackle after 90 seconds.
Right.
Against a straight red. But that the problem is that kid as well. He's his agent's been causing some trouble recently, saying that he deserves to play, and how he's going to end his contract and take him somewhere else if he doesn't get a chance, and then he gets a chance, and that happens.
That's what he does, and that's what he does with it. Like, you're a Southampton fan, so what do you know about the kid? Can he play? Was that just a blunder? Has he done stuff like this in like under 23 games or when he's on loan?
He's had 11 cards in his last 22 games in the under 23s.
Holy shit!
Take him. Tell the agent to take him.
Damn. So he's a
he
serial.
He is a good player though.
I mean, if he's good at kicking human beings, I don't know if he's good at kicking the ball.
Yeah, he's a liability, but he is a good player. But that was the position we needed to fill, and he was the player who was available to fill it. And yeah, I don't think he'll be getting another chance.
Oh, damn. So you think he's gone? There's no mercy?
Quite possibly. I mean, he's going to be banned for a while, and by the time he's back, everyone else is going to be fit again. So,
right.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the red card, and I saw the tackle, and I was like, "Get that kid out of here! He's crazy." He missed him.
It looked like a head-on car accident. Like he played like a drunk driver, and just ran right into McTominay. And I was like, "What the hell was he thinking?" But him being 19 kind of like calmed me down, and I feel bad for him. And now, so my question is, we could talk about Manchester United a lot, and I'm glad. I'll talk about. But before we get to Manchester United side of this, who do you think had a worse game? Jankewitz, who's the guy who fouled McTominay and got the red less than 2 minutes into the game, or is it Bentarek or Bentarak?
Bednarek, yeah.
Bednarek, because Bednarek scored an own goal and then gave up a penalty and got red carded himself. So
I think that was harsh though, that decision.
Yeah, it was harsh, but you know what? He did foul Cavani too in the box earlier.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he had a bad game.
No. Was that him or that fouled Cavani? Or
I think it was him.
I think it was a black guy that fouled Cavani.
Well, he had a yellow card before the second yellow. The second yellow was kind of unfair though. Martial flopped.
People are saying that, but I saw where they connected. I couldn't care less.
Of course.
But especially at that point of the game, we were already up by only 6. But
I would have rather we kept it to 6. That killed us completely.
Yeah. What killed you is when what's his name is scoring. The Welsh kid is scoring on you.
Dan James, yeah.
Dan James, yeah. But let's go to the Man U side of this. For Man U, you go down, you're playing a team, you go up 10 men, and you have to murder them. You have to play provocative balls into the final third, and you have to go for it. And they did that. And I think, unfortunately for Southampton, I think one of the things that Man United has been working on in the upcoming weeks or before, especially this game, was playing the ball faster, because one of the commentators was repeating what Ollie was saying to the team. Play it faster, less touches, which it's, whenever a team low blocks them and just circles the wagons in front of the goal, we have a hard time breaking them down. But I think Ali has been actually working on breaking down teams. And a complaint about a lot of fans is about Wan-Bissaka not being able to go forward, which I've noticed in the last few games, he's gone forward a little bit more. And I'm like, oh, he's going to get this soon. And in this game, he really got it. He came forward so much, he scored the first goal. So props to Wan-Bissaka, not just for this game, but for all the work that he's been doing lately. Like, he's been beating people off the dribble and stuff like that.
It's worth noting as well that Rashford has now overtaken Eric Cantona for goals.
Yeah,
80 goals. 80 goals. You know what? Just to add to what Ian was saying, I think Wan-Bissaka has been going in the box more often, but I think after that red card so early, he decided, I'm just going to go for it every time. Right. And he was also very good with the ball in the back. When he was getting pressured, he was really comfortable and very smooth. I like that. He was not freaking out.
He's been doing that. Like, people have been trying to pressure him in the back, and he's been beating them. And then he's been getting comfortable and going forward, but nobody's giving him the credit for it. But this game, like, he really exploded that. And I think we're going to see more of Wan-Bissaka coming forward.
Props to Luke Shaw. He's doing great too on the other side.
Right. Yeah. Luke Shaw for sure. And just everybody, McTominay, just everybody who, like, we pressured Southampton and we got turnovers and people were sharp and we put away chances. And it could have been more because Cavani missed some chances. And but that's football.
Let's not forget that we had a perfectly good goal taken off at 4-1 as well, and that would have been the start of the comeback. Then we would have come back for 4-4.
That was offside.
it was not offside. They got I got that one wrong.
Yeah, that was a little picky. So that was a little picky for them to take that away, but the scoreline looks better, 9-0. I like the fact that in a almost a year of football, you got beaten 9-0 twice. How did this 9-0 feel in comparison to the one that Leicester put on you?
Not as bad.
Why? Because you experienced,
and because there were circumstances as well. Like we said, we were missing so many players. We get a red card after 2 minutes. Like against Leicester, we had our strongest team out and we were just bad. Whereas, and the atmosphere, like I don't think that this will really hurt us in the long run. I think we'll pick ourselves up from it pretty quickly. I mean, I know we did last time. It took a few games, but it was just a bad night. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Just forget it, move on.
Did you and in that Leicester game, did you have a man sent off too?
We did, I think. Yeah, I tried to scrub it from my memory, but I think we did.
Yeah, I think like within 10 minutes of the game, or maybe the most 20. But I think you had a man sent off.
But Neil, that was one player. That was one player that got sent off, right?
Yeah. I mean, their second player got sent off in the 87th minute of this game.
Pretty late, yeah.
So it was pretty late.
It was still like 7 minutes added on after that, though.
Yeah.
So it's like about 10 minutes, yeah.
Because all the time to look at the VAR to erase, to look at it to see if it was really a foul. Martin, what do you have to say?
Well, it's I've heard they changed the area code in Southampton to 990. That's a new area code in Southampton to come.
Martin's been reading Twitter today.
but no, here it's kind of strange that one of the best coaches in the Premier League, he's got 2 losses like that in his resume, which doesn't change the entire opinion about him. It doesn't actually hurt him at all, and it doesn't hurt his legacy at all. But it's very, very random stat to have up to your name to lose 2 games 9-0 in span of 11-12 months, right?
We were saying though, Martin, that it was all Bednarek's fault. It was all the Polish players' fault.
all the Polish players' fault. Yes, he had a horrific game in the fantasy league. He's minus 7 points. I don't remember I've ever seen a player have minus 7 points in the fantasy league, because he scored an own goal, he got a red card, and they conceded 6 goals with him on the field.
Martin, so who do you think had the worst game, Jankewitz or Bednarak?
Oh no, Bednarak for sure. Jankewitz got bailed quickly. 1 minute home, so he technically can say it's not my fault because I only played for a minute, right?
Right, and he can say I'm 19. The Polish guy, he's a grown ass man. What the fuck was he doing out there?
Yeah, I mean he's also a young player, technically 24 or 25, but yeah, of course.
Martin, put the mute on while I say something. I'm gonna let Neil say something about the game. But here's a funny thing. Last night I was talking to a friend of mine who doesn't watch football, and I told him what happened with the Man United game because he heard me rewatching it, and I explained to him that, after I gloated about the smashing, right? I told him that Southampton, to be fair, had 9 starters missing. And you know what he said to me? He said, "So you all scored 1 goal for each starter that was missing?" And that was my homeboy Paul Alai, and I was like, "That's pretty quick and pretty funny." Neil, what do you think about the game?
Well, I mean, the red card.
Training session.
Yeah, especially the second half. Like, I think the first few goals where I think Southampton was still trying to, and I think this is something, Lee, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Do you think the fact that Hasenhüttl has the philosophy of playing with that high line, I think the fact that we've seen now 2 9-0s, does it kind of hint at the fact that this guy can't curve it back in and like change to maybe more of a Brexit style football when you have all these guys out, you have a red card in the first minute, you've conceded now. How many was conceded in the first 25? I think 2 or 3.
We're 4-0 down by like 35 minutes. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, at that point you're up against it, right? Like just drop the line a couple of yards and then just do what Burnley do, like put 10 men in the box and just defend for your lives.
I think we tried to. The players they're not used to having that asked of them, kind of thing.
Yeah, they weren't his players because they're all like young kids and academy and just people that don't start a lot.
We still had a few starters in there, but it's just the mentality was just wrong. It was just a capitulation.
It was like their heads were like a flag being flown at half mast. Like a lot of Southampton heads were down. Who are some of the players, Lee, that were a part of this 9-0 ass whooping and Leicester's 9-0 ass whooping that were on the field?
Ward-Prowse probably played both. Romeu, Bednarek may have done.
Adams.
Not sure Adams was. He was on the bench a lot at the start of last season.
What about the goalkeeper?
Ings might have been. No, McCarthy came in after the 9-0. It was Gunn in goal against Leicester.
And how do you think you're going to recover this time from this, Lee? Like not you personally.
I think we'll be okay because it's not a sort of we were bad, but United were also very good, and like I say, there were circumstances as to why we had such a depleted team as well. So I think if we get some people back fit before Newcastle at the weekend, we could turn it around. But there are also some other issues at the club as well.
What's that?
We've got a chairman who he takes money out of the club but doesn't put anything in.
Okay.
So like we needed really to buy a couple of players in the window. We needed some cover at fullback because Bertrand had like a suspension and a couple of injuries, and Kyle Walker-Peters is injured at the moment. So we don't really have any cover for those guys. Like against Arsenal, we played 2 young players at fullback who weren't good enough. So we needed some reinforcements. We got Minamino in on loan, but he's not really in a position that we needed to get someone in. Like he'll be a good addition. He'll do a good job, but he wasn't the main thing.
Lee, do you think the coach need to stop attacking and using that talent that you guys have when you play teams like Man U, big teams. Because when you attack, you create a lot of space in the back.
We beat Liverpool by pressing them, and then we switched it up in the second half and dropped off. Like last season, we beat Man City by pressing them. That's the way he wants to play, and sometimes it'll go wrong. I've got no problem with that because it will get us. We normally give the big teams a good game every time. Sometimes we win, sometimes we'll lose narrowly. But I mean, Neil knows we've turned over Chelsea a couple of times by getting in their face.
Shit. Damn, Neil. All right.
But you are in a little bit of a funk right now. You know, you're slipping in the table. You were top 4 a couple months ago. Now you're what, 12th?
Yeah, it's just like Tottenham, really.
Almost.
You're already 4 points ahead of us.
Oh shit! At least Southampton is where they're supposed to be, where you would imagine them. Not 4 points. For you being 4 points, just only 4 points ahead of Southampton is not good, Martin.
I don't know. They were third best team of the pandemic, and in the Premier League, they were very, very good at the end of last season. So
yeah, that one's not working. That's not working, Martin. Go ahead.
I will say this though, like I mean, of course, it's not like Hasenhüttl is gonna completely move away from his philosophy, and he should not, right? Especially if I don't know what's the state of these injuries. Are most of these folks expected to come back pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think within the next like 2 to 3 weeks at least.
Okay, right. So I mean, if the last 9-0 is anything to go by, I think you guys are gonna be fine. And I don't know who said this. Like I heard this somewhere. Like you'd rather lose 9-0 once than 1-0 9 times. And
but they did. You should change that to 9-0 twice. And
one per season. It's still the same 3 points
it's
lost.
Still
yeah. I think I'm the other reason I'm a bit more sort of calm after this one is when we lost 9-0 last time, we were right down the bottom. We were in the bottom 3, but this time, like we're still like 15 points above the relegation zone. So I'm not too concerned by it right now. The thing that does concern me is the situation with the chairman not spending any money, because I think that will probably lead to Hasenhüttl leaving at some point soon, right. Possibly the end of the season. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I have a feeling this might be your last season with him. Why?
We'll take him.
How much longer is his contract?
I think he's got a couple more years still on it. But unless someone comes in, or if the chairman changes his stance, because he's proven that he's worthy of being given money to go and buy players that can do what he needs them to do, and to give us a bit more depth, because the last month or so has shown that we can't deal with injuries in the squad. We haven't got the depth there, and some of the young players aren't ready. So, but yeah, if he doesn't get the support he deserves, then I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to leave.
Maybe you do need the odd smacking here and then, so that, because Hasenhüttl's stock was pretty high. If you don't want to lose him, you'd rather have some of these big clubs worried about, hey, we don't want to nail it on our names. So, maybe, just to keep him honest.
Yeah, maybe his players just did that so he wouldn't leave. And then one last thing about the Southampton ass clapping. The Jankewitz. Well, he has such a white name for such a young black dude.
He's Swiss.
He's Swiss, yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds Polish. It sounds very Polish. So you have two Polish-sounding players.
A Polish-sounding black Swiss guy. But
that's weird.
Yeah. So, but he's been getting like racial abuse, which is becoming like the top thing for people. I'm not gonna say the top thing because I don't want to like give it that much strength, but it happened to Rashford and whoever. It happened to a couple of Man U players when we lost to Sheffield earlier in the week, and it's like people, and now they did it to this 19-year-old kid, and I guess I can't even ask you what do you think about it, because I know you're not going to agree with it, but it's just, and this is more of a social issue, and like where people are.
It's just anonymous. It's just anonymous idiots online, isn't it? I mean, like there's something seriously wrong with people if that's where they feel they need to go. Like, I mean, you can criticize a player's performance and stuff like that. Like, you know, if it's football related, it's fine. But as soon as you start going into those areas, it's not acceptable in any form.
All right. We'll get off Southampton because Man U was on them enough yesterday. So we'll just move that.
I will say one thing though. I was actually more disappointed when we played you at home and we were 2-0 up and lost 3-2 to that late Cavani goal. Like that for me was actually more disappointing than watching the 9-0 because it was just like, you know, I accepted pretty early on that was a defeat.
Yeah. Right. I feel you. I'm just glad we got the 6 points from, like, because every game in the Premiership to me is scary. There is no team that, you know, like last week we did the podcast, I was worried about Sheffield, and you see what happened. And then after that we had Arsenal, and Arsenal has been on this run. And then we dropped points with them. And then now, even after we played you guys, we have Everton coming up. And it's like, did we use up all our goals? You know, and Everton won today. I'm glad Everton won today. I don't want to play Everton that's desperate for a win, you know? So I'm glad they won today. So that might help us. But I don't want this win to make us feel like we just beat Liverpool again and we go into the Everton game relaxed. So we'll see. I want to credit Solskjaer for making good substitutions after we went up, getting some of our people who needed goals so that they can get them back into goal scoring mode, and just for the overall camaraderie of the team and players stepping up and improving in their different positions. And a lot of people when the game started was like, you know, you always trip over Solskjaer's lineups, you know, especially when you don't start Pogba. But even Pogba could have won man of the match. That's how good we played, and he didn't play at all. But you know, just, you know, thanks to Man United for a good day. And Neil, I know you all will bounce back, maybe. There's a bunch of things I want to talk about. If Martin comes back, we'll talk about Chelsea versus Tottenham tomorrow for the limited amount of time. He might be on his flight by now. But let's talk about West Ham versus Villa, because it has to do with the transfer window. And so one of the first things before this game, if we had done this podcast yesterday, instead of today, I would have said, chill Jesse Lingard. Like, I like Jesse Lingard. You know, he came from the academy and we loaned him to West Ham, right? So we loaned him to West Ham. And then if you go on Instagram and see his introduction, you know how they always introduce players to the new team that they joined in? He's kissing the badge. There's shadowy lighting. And he's like, there's music and he's popping the collar. He's dusting the dirt off. And he's acting as if he's coming to save this team that's in 4th place. Like, you're not coming to save West Ham. West Ham is having a great season. You're being introduced as if you're exactly what they need. This is not last season's West Ham when they barely stayed up. So calm the fuck down, Jesse Lingard. And if you're on loan for 19 games, there's one thing you definitely don't do is kiss the badge of the fucking team you're on loan for 9. Are you out of your fucking mind? You were born and raised in a Manchester United academy. And I know you want to show people what you got. But Jesse Lingard, no matter how much you root for him, goes overboard. And it's like, what if you have to come back to us? We saw you kiss a badge, bro.
I agree with you 100%. First of all, even if he has a great 19 games with them, you come back to Man U, competition is stiff, dude. Just have great games and hope that to take you back. Now kissing the badge, doing all that. He likes the attention, I think. He's the attention holder.
That's why you're at West Ham, because you love more attention more than work. Only the threat of being kicked off the team and being sent to West Ham made you step up your game. Like, I just screenshotted something. So he played today. He scored 2 goals. Fucking amazing. But already, this motherfucker, he first, this, let me see if I can find it in my gallery. I had to screenshot. This is unbelievable. This is Jesse Lingard on, I don't know if you guys can see it, at England, prayer hands. Jesse Lingard is at England, prayer hands. One fucking game.
He's mental.
Oh
He's
my
mental case.
What, bro? You win all these games for over a year and a half doing nothing. You have a good start. Like, I remember, and you remember Pedro's first game at Chelsea. How good was that, Neil?
Amazing.
Then what happened afterwards?
Well, the entire team kind of died for the entire season. But he got man of the match and 2 goals, I think, in that first game.
Yeah. I remember Williams' first game at Arsenal. 2 assists. It's like,
I know.
Jesse, you're right in line to follow these fucking people if you don't continue to focus. The reason why you're so, go ahead.
And to be honest, even Willian having a great start to Arsenal or Pedro having a great start, those guys are more talented than you. And they don't glue like you do.
Yeah, he needs to calm down and focus. And I wish him the best. But you know what? I don't miss him because he wouldn't have done that for us. And if he was doing it for us, he wouldn't be at West Ham right now. So he needed a real threat to be executed for him to realize his spot. He had to lose something to want to gain something.
He's probably less likely to come back to you guys because I heard today that Dortmund are lowering their price for Sancho.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What you guys hear? Go ahead, tell me. I was in work all day.
Yeah, they're like dropping the price by like 20 million, asking for 88 million pounds.
That's less than what we were offering them, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I think the difference was around 15 million last time. So
Sancho's way better anyway. Sancho's way better than Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what I'm saying. If United can go and sign Sancho, then Lingard, there's no way he's coming back.
But here's my thing about the Bundesliga. So we're saying Sancho's better. But when I see Sancho play for England, I don't see it. I don't know if it's the setup, but I don't see it. Is the German league a version of the French league? You remember Ballack?
Yeah.
Great German player. How did he do in the Premier League?
Well, he was good at. He was good.
Yeah,
It's just that he came a little after his prime, but for the age he was, I think he was very good.
You think so?
I think Neil's right. He came when he was a little late in his career. After
we got him on a free transfer. That's why.
I think it's worth remembering as well that like every player underperforms in an England shirt pretty much. It's like a curse.
But my next example is all the German players.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Pulisic. So I'm coming to them that are playing right now for Chelsea. I'm not so sure about the German league.
No, I'll say this though about the league. From what I noticed, and I think this has been a change that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot of teams that are going at it for 90 minutes, regardless of where they're on the table. So everybody's playing a high line. You know how like you'll see like a few teams do that in every league, and then you'll see a lot of teams having 10 men in the box. Mm-hmm. There's barely any of that. So I'm pretty sure like there is a little bit of a Bundesliga tax you can put on a lot of these goals.
Yeah,
you just won't have that kind of space and time while playing against Premier League midfields and defenses.
I was going to say that, Neil, the same thing. Like, I think German league, they play all offense. They have all talented players. The only problem is with German league, they don't care about defense. We're going to outscore you. Every team trying to outscore the other team.
And I have a theory on this, because if you see a lot of these teams, I mean, okay, it's already decided that Bayern Munich is winning the league at the beginning of every season. So what else is the incentive for a lot of these other clubs? It's come down to a business model where you make sure that you get a lot of these assets that you've accumulated performing. And the easiest way to do that is to have somebody rack up a whole bunch of goals and assists every season. And to do that, you need a manager and you need a style of play that is a little off balance, is more offense oriented. You look at Borussia Dortmund, they're 7th in the table. But from a business point of view, they're going to have a great season, this one, because they'll probably end up securing deals for 2 players by the end of the season who they got for pretty much nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that completely dwarfs anything you can get from Champions League.
That makes it the French league. That makes it a version of the French league, and that means the quality of the French league ain't that great.
But the French league, they might stumble upon this. Like this is they have got down to an art form. What's happening in the Bundesliga?
Bundesliga is a better version of the French league. French league can never win the Champions League, but Bundesliga, Bayern, and Dortmund can always win the Champions League. You know, it's literally the top teams. Yeah, Bayern. The top teams can win, and I think also if you're so talented in Germany and you are killing it, like Dembele was before he came to Barcelona. You go to La Liga or Premier League, it's not just talent no more. It's tactics, it's rules, it's competition, and those young players like Sancho, Dembele, Sancho in England, it's tough to adapt to that. Like Havoc, CV, you know what I mean? It takes time for them to adapt because they're young and just talented. But in Premier League, it's not just all talent; it's all mental, defense, tactics. You know.
I think it depends on the individual as well. Like, I don't think anyone would doubt that if Haaland came to the Premier League now, he would score a bunch of goals. I mean, and you look at one of the top performers in the league right now is Gundogan, and you know that's a player that's come out of the Bundesliga.
So did De Bruyne.
But again,
had been there.
But then Gundogan again took a while to get to become the Gundogan that he was in the Bundesliga.
That goes back to what I said. They need like a year or two to get adapted to the Premier League.
So Neil, in the next 2 years, you're gonna have a dope squad. Chelsea's gonna be flat, murderers.
Well, apparently,
2 years.
The word on the street
2 years
that,
and 2 more managers later.
The word on the street is that Abramovich has told Tuchel that you get a Champions League football this time, which is a tall ask at this point where we are in the table. But you get us that, I'm giving you Haaland in the summer. So he's like, if you get us top 4, I'm gonna get you Erling Haaland in the summer.
So if you get me something,
that
I would have to have a Haaland to get, I'll get you Haaland.
Because his point is like, then you deserve it, and you're also gonna get a contract extension.
That's very generous.
I've seen you guys link with 2 Bundesliga defenders as well. So Upamecano and Nicolas Soule from from Bayern.
And what were you gonna say, Moa?
I was going to say, Abramovich is being very generous by saying, make it top 4. I'm like, that's your competition now? You just want to make the top 4, which is going to be hard still, but you know.
No, from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The top 4 in Premier League. Yeah, that's going to be hard. Where you guys at now?
I think we are 6 points off the nearest legitimate guy. Which is Leicester, I think.
You guys are 8th.
Leicester are 3rd, Liverpool 4th now.
8th. You are 33 points.
You got 33 points.
Yeah, 8th.
Oh, Leicester won today, right? I'm so sorry.
You're
so we have 7 points off Liverpool.
7 points off.
Yeah, 7 points off Liverpool.
That's hilarious.
Game in hand.
You're 7 points off the champs, not just any team. You have to catch Liverpool.
Well, you know, like
champs.
Well, Lampard's remit for this season was to close the gap to Liverpool. I mean, he kind of did that. But
Liverpool closed the gap for everybody, and then we're just eating up. I mean, really, you should aim to close the gap on Leicester. Leicester's gonna do what they do, and I'm just gonna assume they're gonna drop. I'm not disrespecting them. I'm just going to assume they're going to drop to 4th, and it's whoever can pass Leicester when they're 4th. They won today.
Aston Villa's going to drop as well.
Yeah, but they're not in the 4.
No, they're like 6.
I think West Ham's the nearest who's doing it probably for the first time, the top 4 race.
Yeah.
You said West Ham?
5th, I think,
Let me see. Yeah, they're fifth, but
I think apart from
Jesse Lingard buy is gonna keep them there.
No, but they're on a great run. Like apart from Man City, they have 5 wins in 6 games right now. So they're being on a great run.
I just think it's one of those Wolves runs, and 10 more games in, they won't be there.
I think that's the hope. Like a lot of us, like Chelsea fans, are hoping that even Leicester, for that matter, that the bubble's gonna burst any moment now.
I think Leicester will get a Europe spot. It's West Ham, I doubt, but you have Everton is tough. It's just every year, Tottenham. Every year it expands the possibilities for top 6.
Yeah,
expands to more teams. Yeah. At least by this point, it does. What did you guys think of like the end of the transfer window and who did what?
It was pretty underwhelming, wasn't it? Really. I mean, Liverpool got a couple of centre backs in for cover. It's good to see Davies get a chance from the Championship from Preston. Whether he'll play many games or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's good to see a player making a move like that, which is quite nice.
I think Wolverhampton got forward
William Jose, yeah.
Yeah, he's good from Real Sociedad. He's actually good forward.
He started already.
Yeah, he started.
He got the penalty. He got the penalty when David Luiz brought him down.
He almost scored as well.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think about that David Luiz penalty / sending off? And the rule, and the fact that so many red cards were issued yesterday, and 2 of them were for the same thing in 2 different games.
I think it's harsh, like, because the rule is you have to be trying to get the ball, but at the same time, like those ones, they're sort of runs that come across each other. So it's harsh. I don't think you should get the double punishment of the penalty and the red.
It's a triple,
something like that. Yeah, well, it's a suspension as well. Yeah,
it's a quadruple. So it's a suspension. You get sent off. There's a penalty, and you get sent off. There's a penalty. You get games, and
it's goal guarantee.
Yeah,
almost. But you know what? I didn't know about that rule. If you don't go for the ball and you hit the guy, I didn't know that you could get a red card for that. I had no idea about that rule.
I think that rule is more for like intentional ones where like if a player's through 1v1 and they just grab him or something.
No professional fouls.
Yeah.
But
that's go ahead. I feel like
those was not a penalty. You know, when you go and you try to pull out and you hit him, you know.
It isn't, but you're still stopping. I think it's a penalty. I don't think the question is it a penalty? Is it a sending off? Because if you stop the guy from scoring, whether purposefully or accidentally, that's a penalty. It's the thing is, like, can't the refs, like, I was listening to Shaka Hislop, and he was a part of the writing of that law, but he did say that the refs are allowed to, like, decide.
Yeah, use some discretion.
Use their discretion. And in none of the cases yesterday did they use any type of discretion. They just kept it to the letter of the law.
Right.
Yeah, they weren't blatant attempts to bring someone down. It was just unfortunate kind of thing. Like it was, I think it was you give the penalty, but the red card just kills both teams.
Yeah, I don't like how in football they don't let any accident happen. Like they act like it's a surprise when people run into each other and collide, like somebody has to get a card. It's like, no, people are running at their top speed. They have to brake at their top speed. It's like, hey man, you know when somebody does it intentionally, and if you don't, you shouldn't be reffing because you've been involved in football enough.
Right.
Go ahead, Lee. They were letting it go when we played Villa at the weekend though. Like one Villa player pretty much made a save like a keeper, and they didn't give a penalty for it. So
McGinn, that wasn't a handball.
It was Cash, Matty Cash.
Oh, how did you feel about that? But the ball, I thought it was a penalty at first.
His arm was out, and his arm came out, and his leg came out, and it's like,
I knew you was gonna be salty about that.
But Ian, just to say what you were saying earlier, Ian, some leagues like La Liga, they don't give a fuck about fouls sometimes. You see, 10 fouls happen without them calling anything. And seven of them are like really fouls. And 3 of them like, good job, you didn't call no foul there. Some leagues, they don't call it.
All right, speaking of La Liga, let me tell you why your team is trashy. Let's go to La Liga, and the only reason we're going to La Liga is because of Messi, and only Messi can take us from the Premier League. So,
are you pulling up an entire contract right now, like a Excel sheet of all the things Messi is billing Barcelona for, leading them to financial bankruptcy?
So Neil, explain this. Neil, explain this to so the newspaper puts an embargo on their front page so that they can print an article and that the other newspapers cannot print this article. And they got a copy of Messi's contract, which there's only supposed to be 4 copies of in the age of technology. And it shows how much Messi's going to get paid or has been getting paid or is getting paid over the next 4 years. And they're blaming Messi for the ruining of Barcelona financially, meanwhile ignoring how much money Messi has made them all these decades and not saying what they did with that fucking money. You know what I mean? And who took it and who used it. If you're Messi, are they trying to get, what are they trying to destroy him in the fans' eyes so that they could sell him? Or
no, you know what?
What's going on?
I think.
And who did it?
It's so frustrating. First of all, let's say who did it. You know the guy that's running the organization right now,
the intermediate, the intermittent.
Yeah, the interim. He said Bermatillo, the scumbag Bermatillo that we fucking finally got rid of. He's his assistant, and Bermatillo is the most pettiest motherfucker. And I'm sure he paid him or did something or blackmailed him to leak that. He did it, number one. Number two, we would never, as a Barca fan and most fans, football fans, blame Messi for that contract. What Messi have broken and done the last 12 years is miracle. How much money he has made the Barcelona. I don't care how much money he makes. But also, this is what pissed me off even more. He's thinking about staying, right? They want him to leave because they don't like Barcelona because of Catalonia, their own nation, all that, right? So the rest
who does it? Who wants him to leave?
Barcelona is part of Catalonia. It's their own nation. They're trying to.
Right.
So they do everything because of you see these colors. They do everything by their own, right? And I think most media are Spanish. So they're like, at this point, if Messi leaves, we don't have to deal with Barcelona.
Was it a Spanish newspaper that released this, or was it a Catalonian one?
Was it in the Spanish, I think, right? Was it Catalonia?
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think Catalonia would do that because he's beloved in Spain, man. In Catalonia.
But I don't think he's completely beloved because he had to do that 1 hour thing after the incident that happened this season when he faxed and he had to sit down. And there were some.
He had to sit down and shorts and flip flops.
Yeah.
And
they are detractors that before this even came out were against him, which surprised the fuck out of me.
I mean, he had to do that interview, obviously, because of all the shit going on, and they knew he was trying to leave, and Bermatillo made sure he didn't leave, even though Bermatillo said, if Messi stays, I'll leave, and Messi ended up staying because of the discrepancy, which was, if you didn't ask us to leave in June, you asked us to leave in August because I was playing in June because of quarantine.
So why did they keep him if he wanted to leave and they could have saved money? And now they put the contract out to blame him. It's like it doesn't make no sense.
Bermatillo was the most scumbag president ever. We tried to get rid of him last 3 years. He ruined our club, and he was just he was stealing money. He was doing all kinds of stuff, and he wasn't even. Most presidents are like so supportive of their staff, especially Messi, the GOAT. He was headbutting with Messi. He was getting his own coaches left to right. He's firing. He's doing like you're supposed to work with the GOAT if you're trying to win what you used to win. But he wasn't working with him. It's ridiculous. And now he's doing this petty shit, having the assistant, the interim and general manager do this, president. It's ridiculous.
I think they wanted to get rid of him. I mean, not get rid of him, but Messi wanted to leave. And I think financially, it would have been okay for Barcelona to have him leave. But the problem is, if you're the president and Messi leaves on your watch, you are going to be the most hated person in Barcelona. And that's what we saw, right? In the scene.
This is the thing. without the leakage, Messi's going to make a decision in 3 months, 4 months. He's going to tell
Yeah,
us.
but you don't want the average Barcelona fan to point fingers at whoever is part of the decision-making process. So what you do, you said you leak this thing out,
right.
and more like maybe you are not bothered by it, but the attempt is to create a divide and among the fans. And I was seeing some media
honest,
comments.
How much money has Messi made this club? How much?
I completely agree with that. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I guess that's what they're trying to say. Hey, look, on one hand, we as a club are we are on the verge of financial bankruptcy, and on the other hand, here's Messi's contract. I'm not saying anything, but here you go.
Right, you make up your own mind. You make up your own mind about the mind I'm trying to get you to make up.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. Let me add one more thing.
Go ahead. Let Lee jump in.
It's creating a scapegoat for because only a week before the contract details, like Neil was saying, there's all the details about the financial hole that Barcelona are in. And I think it's like Neil was saying, it's almost like the board are coming out and saying, well, here's the scapegoat, but let's try and turn people on Messi rather than have people ask questions about the financial mismanagement of the club. Because I mean, the amount of revenue that Messi generates from shirt sales and all sorts of merchandising, the amount of money they get from Qatar Airways, all that sort of stuff, like they shouldn't be in the financial hole that they're in, and that's mismanagement off the field. That, but it's easy to try and pin it on.
They try to shift the blame.
Yeah, it's a PR.
And
it's
they
a PR
hope
war.
the fans are stupid.
Let me add one more thing. Maybe I know more than the average fan. It's we never broke the transfer ban. We were getting the money, and the money stopped coming because of quarantine and the seats and all that. Right. And because it stopped coming, and Barca was in trouble paying this money. They had no problem paying Messi's money before because they had this money coming in. They were taking loans, right? And the loan eventually stopped. So they never really broke the rule. They were just getting a loan on top of that. Right. People saying we couldn't buy nobody because of Messi's salary is bullshit. We could buy people. It's just we were getting too much loans just to protect, buy players and also pay Messi's salary.
Yeah, it feels like, without knowing much, it's bad money management and scapegoating and shifting the blame and trying to. It's like if you show this is basketball period, like this is sports period. Like I'm a Knicks fan, or I'm a basketball fan, and I don't watch the league anymore as much. But I remember whenever somebody got a new contract, they would always tell you how much that player got paid. Like if Shaq got $100 million or $200 million for whatever they pay people now, and they focus on that number. And that person has a bad game, people call into sports radio, and it's like, he's getting paid this amount of money. But they never tell you on purpose, listen, if you're an owner and you can afford to pay a player, just one player on your entire team out of all the players you got, if you can afford to pay somebody $200 million, how much fucking money do you have? And how come that what the owners make or have is never mentioned? It's just the player. So that's where the focus goes to the player, how the player's not playing or what he's playing, and it's used against the player whenever necessary. So it's just they do it in all the sports. But it's a shell game.
Yeah, that's a great example because I played basketball growing up. I'm a big basketball fan. I'm a Heat fan. When we got Jimmy Butler a year ago for $157 million, it was like, he's not worth that money. He's barely an all-star. But we went through NBA finals, Eastern Conference finals. All the money they made just winning those titles and getting there was way in the billions. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, and only they know those numbers. Only know they know those numbers. It's like there's a reason why the top 1% keeps getting richer and everybody isn't. There's way more money in things that, like, sometimes we're sitting in these offices and we're working, and even if we're not working, we're like, how is this company making money? How are they paying me? I'm getting over, but we're not getting over. These motherfuckers are making way more money than we can even imagine, and you could see it in the world today, Like when Amazon delivers something and you're like, shit, I just got those motherfuckers deliver this shit for free. I got Prime. You are not getting over. You are not getting over. You think you got this cheap thing delivered in one day. Listen, nobody's giving you anything for free. You are getting played. All right. One of the next topics. Oh, so Chelsea plays Tottenham tomorrow. What do you think of your chances? You're playing your old coach. He's fucking desperate. They just lost embarrassingly during the week. They don't have Kane. You guys, it's just your third game with your new coach. What's the deal, Neil?
I feel like our main problem to solve tomorrow will be the same old thing about finishing, because even the last game, we created quite a lot, but it came down to scoring 2 worldies from defenders. Like the game should not have become such a low percentage game.
I'm sorry. I know I asked you a question, right?
Yeah.
But I have to interrupt because I just remember something. So Neil always get haunted by the players on his team that he hates or dislikes. Now, it was Willian, but then they sold him. So you can't haunt him with Willian no more. But then he doesn't like Xabi Alonso. And not
Marcus
Xabi
Alonso.
Marcus Alonso. And then they bring him off the bench, which I'm sure you were unhappy to see. And then he scores the goal that puts the nail in the coffin. And you're haunted again. Like, I can throw this name in your face that I know you don't like.
No, but you know, I've always said, he's probably the best finisher at the club. The person who irritates me the most is whichever youth coach back in the day decided to make Marcus Alonso a left back. That guy could have been one of the best strikers of his generation if he was ever used there. And like he barely ever goes wrong in those places. But that's the thing, you can do that against a Burnley.
Neil, I agree with you, Neil. I don't like Xabi Alonso because he never plays defense and he thinks he's a forward. Yeah. He forgets that he's a left back. And I think they made him left back because he couldn't take the forward position when he was younger. You know what I mean? But I'd rather start Emerson, to be honest. He doesn't play defense, Alonso. He shoots, he's selfish. He scores.
I think you can get away with Alonso as a wing back, though.
But even there, I agree with that. I agree
because they're playing 3 centre backs right now, so that he's not in a back. In a back 4 as a left back, it's a disaster.
But wasn't he in a back 3 before when they won the league?
No, he was not. He was the wing back. He was the wing back.
He was a wing back. Yeah.
No, but even there, like even as a wing back, I agree that it doesn't give him as much defensive duties, so we can get away with that. But you ideally want a wing back who can cross really well. He's not good at even the offensive duties of a wing back. He's good at the offensive duties of somebody who gets into the box. So even as like a just traditional wing back, I would play Ben Chilwell there. But he has a great record against Tottenham. I think he scored 3 goals in as many years against them. So I really wouldn't be surprised if he plays there again, considering that. But if they want to play Gareth Bale on that right wing, and Gareth Bale has a Gareth Bale game, we could be looking at something really calamitous.
Do you think they'll risk playing? Do you think they'll risk playing Hudson-Odoi as a right wing back in that game as well?
Yeah, that's something I'm a little worried about because you have him and Son there. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that because Hudson-Odoi has the pace to keep up with anybody, but he's not defended in his life.
He might Xabi Alonso the whole thing.
Yeah, but again, like he's that position. Hudson-Odoi playing as a right wing back has been the best thing that has happened in these 2 games.
He looked great. He looked great last 2
games. He was your best player.
Both Wolves and Burnley sat off you, and although you're playing Jose, so he'll probably do the same.
Yeah. So that's actually a good thing. But there's this great quote that came out from the Burnley game, where I think Sean Dyche starts shouting at his fullback. I think it's Robbie Brady. I think. Yeah, Brady. And he's like, Robbie, tune in. And Robbie goes, I fucking know where he is. I just can't keep up with him. What do you want me to do?
You know what, Neil? Do you think maybe Odoi, only time he's going to get minutes now with so stacked, so many wingers, is that position? That's the only place he will get minutes now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, like Ziyech after his injury hasn't been great. And Pulisic really hasn't been having a good season so far. So I hope the assist he got versus Burnley gives him some confidence. But I think on form, Hudson-Odoi is also our best winger. Yeah. So, but yeah, again, like it's so tough to predict right now because it's a new manager who's historically used to a lot of formations. I really don't know how we're gonna set up. I just hope that we go with the same policy that we had against Burnley, where you create a lot, and just hope that somebody has their shooting boots on.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you saw the lineup for the game before, forget the score afterwards, were you disappointed in anything? Because I know you like the young players. I know there's certain players that you like and he didn't play them. So when you saw Alonso out there, in a place where you'd prefer another young player, like who would you have preferred in Alonso? Forget the score. What's the Chelsea lineup you want to see?
So against Burnley, I wasn't that displeased seeing Alonso because I was seeing some training videos that the club had put out where pretty much it was Werner, Tammy taking near post, Werner taking the middle, and Alonso taking the back post. So if you're going in a game where you're going to be pretty much huddled in Burnley's half and pretty much Burnley's final third, it's not that bad an idea playing somebody like Alonso in those games. And I was happy to see Mount starting, Tammy starting. Tammy had a poor game, but as you know, I feel we get more out of it in such games where we need more mobility out of Tammy. Mount had a great game, but I think the biggest change I want to see is instead of playing Jorginho and Kovacic, we get down to playing Kante and Gilmore. I think that's our best pivot. Jorginho and Kovacic have had good games though, these two, so I don't think they're going to go away right away. But if it were left up to me, I would play Kante and Billy Gilmore in those two spots.
Okay. So do you think you could beat them, Spurs?
I think we can definitely beat them. We know how they're going to play. It's just playing. We're pretty much going to play a Burnley with better players.
What do you think about? Go ahead, hilarious.
Yeah. What
do you think about their chances, Lee? Chelsea versus.
I would make them favourites. I think. I wouldn't be surprised. I listened to an interview with Tuchel today, and he said that they're preparing for Spurs with and without Kane, because I wouldn't put it past Jose to spring him as a surprise. He's done it before with Son. He said Son was going to be out for like a month before, and then he came back like the next game. The official line from Spurs is that he's still going to be out for a couple of weeks, but
I just read something where he might be back next week, which is sooner than they thought.
But Tuchel's smart. He knows. He said that he prepared for Kane and without Kane. So I think I would think Chelsea would shade the game. I think they'll win by 1 goal, perhaps. But Jose could equally grind out a 0-0 or 1-1 in that game.
That's a tough place to be if you're winning by just 1 goal, because that means again we are lacking in finishing, and then they can really turn it back at any point.
Moha, what do you think about tomorrow's game?
I think it's going to be a big mistake if you start Alonso, because Tottenham is kind of dangerous on the counter-attack, especially if they start Bell. And let's say Kane can't go, and they start Bell on one of the wings. You're now playing Burnley, and then now you think Alonso had a great game. You start him and Gibraltar on the other side. It's going to be dangerous, I think. It's going to be tough, especially if you think you're going to grind out 1-0 game. You got to be careful trying to get 1-0 against Tottenham. It might be 0-0, 1-1, or you might lose. It's going to be a tough game.
What do you all think about Liverpool losing again today? Like, my thing is all season you're waiting for Liverpool to start being Liverpool. And today, for the first time, I might be like, this is Liverpool. This is the Liverpool we're going to get. The one that starts and stops and starts and stops. There is going to be no run. This is it. And the goal that Brighton Hove scored today was like one of those Origi accidents that Liverpool usually gets in their favor. You know, like
the build-up was great though to the goal.
So what?
The build-up was great. They made like so many passes. They moved Liverpool all over the pitch. The finish was scrappy, but it was a really good move to get them in the position.
Yeah. So, but what do you think about them losing today? Is this them? Are they going to go on a run? It's how much more of a sample do we? You know how after a certain amount of games you can define what a team season is going to be in it. And I know there's a Premier League and shit is changing all the time and it's COVID. But I feel like City, who I'm going to bring up later, they just won their 13th match in a row. And I think they've gotten used to the rhythm of COVID, games coming halfway, like playing on a weekend and then playing midweek. And they're in the rhythm of like what they would, as close to you would be in a regular season with no COVID.
Yeah, I think Liverpool really miss Mane when he's not playing. He was out today. Alisson was out today as well. Obviously, they're still didn't put the new guys in at centre back, so they went with Henderson there again. Mm-hmm. So I think they're just struggling from being a disjointed team at the moment. They're not looking as fluid as they were last season. But I mean, also you've got to give other teams credit for sort of almost figuring them out a bit as well. Like Brighton played so well today tactically. Mm-hmm. What did they do? They played quite proactively. They defended low when they needed to, but they also pressed when they needed to.
Yeah, Brighton's really good.
Yeah, they did really well. So I think Liverpool will pick back up. I don't think they'll get close to City now. I think City are gonna. I think they'll pull clear. I think you'll be probably the closest team to them based on what we've seen. But I think Liverpool will probably get back up to third.
Yeah, I can see the season with City leading the way, with Manchester United being dragged as we grab onto the heel of their pants to just stay close to them. But City, that shit today, 2-0. Was it 2-0 against Burnley? 2-0,
yeah.
And this the way they're just being clinical, and you can switch out defenders. They played Laporte, I think, on the left back or some shit today. Like, remember when we thought Laporte was going to be the next new best defender in the Premier League? He's like, can I get a game? And then Shevchenko. I was watching some match of the day highlights of Shevchenko, how he drifts inward and becomes a new midfielder for them, and then goes back out wide and draws people into him.
You know,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know, you're right about Liverpool. I think we shouldn't expect Liverpool to storm back to number 1 or 2. I don't think they're going to storm back. This is the Liverpool we have. Mane is missing, it's showing. The defender's missing, is showing. This is the Liverpool we're going to get. They're going to win some games and they're going to lose to some games that we think, how did they lose to them? But Brighton is a pretty good team. I know they don't win a lot of games, but they play really great football and they have a good coach. And I agree with you also. I think City and Man U are probably going to get this title. And you're going to hope they slip up. And I feel like City have came out this quarantine, maybe because they're stacked. They have a deep bench. They have came out looking pretty good. They have Mendy, Shevchenko, and now they have Laporte on the left. And they only made one substitution today, which was kind of surprising. I think they only made Shevchenko coming in, which was weird. But I think Liverpool is not going nowhere.
Yeah, I think City has so much depth, especially defensively. And I know Champions League is going to be like another wrinkle in their season, but they're already playing midweek games.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't matter much, but maybe that's the only thing that could trip them up. Go ahead.
They've got Jesus scoring again as well now. Like he'd been struggling, but he's got goals in his last 2 games. He's looking a bit more confident. And when you've got people like Sterling and Gundogan putting chances on plate for years,
Yeah, and then Sterling didn't even play the game before, and he comes in this game and he scores. Yeah. You know what Jesus needs to do? Stop flopping and crying. Like nobody fouled you, bro. Stop. The look on your face is not going to convince me that the guy I saw who did not touch you, touched you. Get the fuck up and play football. He went down in the box so many times today, and and his arms are up. It's like he should have got a card today at least one.
I feel like he got so many opportunities by the coach last 2-3 years. Like, bro, you scoring 10 goals, 5 goals a year, and you flopping and you playing almost every game. Any forward, let's say Jimenez or any forward from smaller teams played in Man City, they would have scored more goals than Jesus. He's a flopper, I agree, and he doesn't score much.
I think he's been a little bit harsh though, in that he's like, when Aguero's fit, he was always in and out of the team.
Right.
So like he would come in when Aguero needed a rest, then he'd be back out for 2 or 3 games, and he'd come back in again. So it's hard.
He should have. But
to get a run. So now he's playing regularly, and he scored the last 2 games.
I think this is a very critical season for him because the way Aguero's, both age and injuries, this could be the last season where we see Aguero playing a role, which basically means that this is now till the end of the season is an audition for Jesus to be the #1 striker at Manchester City, because if he can't prove himself to be worthy of that, they're gonna just go get somebody.
Well, Pep before this transfer window was over, doubled down more than Lee did by wearing that Southampton shirt. Like he said, we are not buying a forward, right? So, but I don't know if he said that because they looked and nothing was worth it financially, and so he made that statement. I was like, oh shit, he's committing to Jesus, and so. Or maybe he so much believes in Jesus because when he bought Jesus 4 years ago, he bought Jesus to replace Sergio Aguero immediately. When Pep first got to the club, he did not play Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero did not agree with his philosophy, and then he benched him and he played some Jesus. And then for some reason, Sergio Aguero got back in there and started scoring, and Pep had to play him. And he started adjusting to the philosophy, and then it was like, Jesus would get in there. He had better form when he first got there, but Aguero stepped up his game. And then he just got phased out by Sergio Aguero. And then he had injuries. So
I think I agree with you. I think Pep thought he didn't need no forwards this year because he knows he got Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Sterling. Those guys get you goals, right? Even De Bruyne, Gundogan. He didn't think he needed a forward, but I think he's over Jesus. He gave him this whole year. All he did this year was get injured, flop, now score, get back injured, come back. I think next year he's going to buy a forward. He will definitely buy a forward.
Yeah, he'll buy something. And, it might be Haaland. It might be, why not? If he's going to stay, why not get somebody, And why not get something? Let me see. We got time.
Speaking of, just going back to the Liverpool game, I think they've had, like even last season, if you see a lot of their games, they've had these games once in a while where it's tight. Players have, the other team is defending deep. What they had last season was you get a corner and then you put Van Dijk in there to either score or like lob the ball.
Oh yeah, you forgot the amount of goals that Van Dijk used to score. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a really good release outlet for them when things are just not working out. Going forward, they don't have that anymore, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the reasons why. They picked up someone like
Davies.
No, I don't know much about Davies, but the other guy, what's his name?
Schalke.
Kabak.
Kabak, yeah.
Kaban. Because I was looking at some of his stats. He seems to be somebody. The Schalke centre back. Yeah, he seems to be somebody who's. I haven't barely seen him play, but looking at his stats, he seems to be somebody who's really good in the air.
I was talking to my homeboy Lloyd yesterday, and he was like, why didn't Liverpool, if they just won the title last year, spend money big and buy a defender that was definitively going to add to the team?
And they knew that Lovren's going, so they knew there was a vacancy there for him.
But why didn't they get one in this window? I don't know if it's Klopp's philosophy that it's tough to get the thing that you want.
I think he had this window. Yeah, Matip and Gomez was supposed to be the backup, one of them.
But they like Matip, I think is done for the season now, maybe.
Yeah.
Like Fabiano, who is his backup, is out. He's got 4 defenders out, and he's got Henderson back there. Who was Henderson back there with today? can't remember.
He was there with
Phillips.
The young lad.
The young lad. I watched.
You can't depend on Matip to be your backup.
Yeah, because
that guy when has he ever been injury free for a stretch of
for a whole season?
Yeah. Forget a season, like a few weeks.
Matip was clutch last year, and when they won the title, he scored a couple of headers. When Van Dijk wasn't scoring them, he scored them. And he had like
he's good, but he's like always injured.
Yeah. Gomez is historically quite injury prone as well. Van Dijk was the only one that was always consistently fit, and obviously the injury he got wasn't his fault this year. But they should have potentially had more depth there for a club of their size.
And even as far as Sadio Mane, like the desire levels, even when Sadio Mane plays, to me, he is not the Sadio Mane of last year. Like last year, he had this special level of desire that he doesn't show or hasn't shown me this year. Last year was like, I'm going to win this game. I'm going to do something. I'm going to put the ball in the net or steal the ball and pass it to somebody to put it in the net. So even when they have Sadio Mane now, I don't see that Mane, So
even the Mane that got injured, that's not as good as last year. He's still the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Still good, but it's still a different. He could start on any team in the league, but to win the league, you need the Mane from last year, and Liverpool don't got that, and they don't got
Liverpool's
the
not going to win it.
defense.
I don't think Liverpool can win it this year. The way they look at, they're going to keep that pace.
Yeah, now I'm like.
Well, next week City play Liverpool, so that's going to be, you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe it can flick a switch.
Yeah, maybe.
That game's going to help Man U if Liverpool wins.
Yeah, sure will.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else. United, Southampton did that. Man City, 13 consecutive wins. Chelsea win. Josh Maja goes to Brighton. Josh Maja went somewhere. He went to Newcastle or something.
Fulham, I think.
Fulham.
Yeah.
So the only transfer that bugs me is Man U a month ago was linked to this player from Ecuador. And we could have gotten Caicedo. We could have gotten for $5 million.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a box-to-box midfielder. And I thought, he's only $5 million. I don't know if he's good. I watched some highlights, but I was like, maybe we should get him just to have him. And we didn't. And because they were offering him to us first. And we didn't. And I think Brighton Hove got him.
Yeah, Brighton got him.
And my greatest fear is that this 19-year-old kid balls out and in the same league that we could have had him in. And it's like, now he's worth $50 to $60 million. And we have to buy him when we could have got him for $5 million. I say our biggest mistake in this transfer window was not buying him and then loaning him out to Brighton Hove or some team. And we would have still had him for $5 million. Is nothing in football money. Right. Nothing. And they would have handed him to us.
He'll take a while to settle because he's a 19-year-old coming from the Ecuadorian league, which is that's a massive change to go from that to the rain and the wet and the cold here and Premier League football. So I don't think you'll see him much this season. I think he might have a few sub appearances or like they might phase him in slowly, but then the next season, the season after, I think he could be a huge player for them based on what I've seen and what I've heard. But it kind of feels like a miss for the big clubs that he's been able to go
exactly
to Brighton. But the fact that he's been able to go there, it's a bit strange, but it's a great bit of recruitment for Brighton.
And he plays good football, and Brighton plays good football. So he's with the right coach. So let's look how technical Brighton Hove is. So now they add a technical player. He's gonna get more technical. We're gonna wish we had this guy. There's no way.
I don't understand. I agree with you, Ian. If you're a big team like Man U with all the money in the world, buy the player that's talented for $5 million. It's like getting him for free, basically. And you can develop him. And I think in Man U, he would even get developed physically because they have such a great visual team, fitness, nutrition. And 3 years, loan him out. 3 years now, he could have been a star.
Yeah, instead of now we're gonna have to buy him from them for 60 mil or whatever later, or lose to him. Trying to think.
But I'm happy that Brighton got these 2 wins though, because I felt like all season they've been playing really well without getting any luck at all in terms of points. So
yeah, they
should never have been anywhere near the relegation zone.
Yeah, a lot of games they lost Brighton. I felt bad because they didn't have the striker. They had everything else, the game, the system. You know, I'm happy for them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you think? So we did this kind of. Is Sheffield gone?
Yeah, I think the whole bottom 3. I think all the current bottom 3 are done.
I know because Burnley is that 8 points ahead of Fulham? They got 22. Burnley got 22. My math is bad.
Yeah.
Fulham got 14.
Yeah,
I think Burnley's gonna stay up. They have such a talented team. I mean, with the corners, Wood, and all those guys, they're gonna stay up.
Yeah, I think the current bottom 3 is it now. I think
you think that's it?
Yeah, I think it's too much to ask of them.
I think the only team that can be. I think the only team that can be pulled back is Newcastle.
Yeah,
maybe because they haven't been having a great run either. And I think if Fulham, are like 8 points off right now. They have a game in hand or something.
I just don't think any of them have the consistency to do it. I mean, I know Newcastle are poor, but like they picked up some points the other day because Wilson decided to wake up and score some goals. But I just don't think I think Fulham have probably got the best chance out of them all. But I just don't. I just don't think they've got the consistency to pull it off now.
Didn't Fulham just get that guy from Bournemouth?
No, Everton got Josh King.
Joshua King.
Who did Fulham get in the transfer window?
They got Josh Maja.
Josh Maja?
The guy from the Sunderland documentary.
Josh Maja, okay. All right. I feel like, for some reason, I feel like Fulham might be able to get out of there, but that doesn't, because their performances are good, just like Brighton Hove. You know, they look good, and they don't get their ass whooped. You know, they've
improved massively from the start of the season to now.
Right. So you see them growing. Yeah. You know,
but I think the damage is done.
I did have a lot of hope for Fulham, but I feel like more I look at them, I'm like, they're just unlucky, man. They can't get that hump. You know, they play. It's hard. I don't know if they can make it out of that 3.
I am happy that West Brom is leaving. For some reason, I don't like Sam losing. I don't like Sam Allardyce for some reason. I don't like how cocky he chews his gum. Like, you shouldn't chew gum like that when you are in the position you're in. You should take baby chews, man.
I don't think it's a mystery as to why somebody would not like Sam Allardyce.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. I feel better.
I think it's a pretty popular opinion.
Oh, okay.
The question is, how many teams have Sam Allardyce coached that went down over the years?
I think they're saying he saved a bunch of teams, but
yeah.
They normally leave before they go down. Most of the clubs.
That's hilarious. Well, shit. Yeah. Now West Brom is dragging him down. So anybody got anything that they want to say that we didn't get to?
All good.
All good.
If you want to watch Barcelona's game today, watch it. Exciting, entertaining, crazy game.
And Messi played?
Yeah, he played.
And how did he play? Like, don't tell me the result, but did he play like the article in the paper affected him? Was he still in?
I mean, he didn't play the way he plays like the game before against Atletico Madrid, where he was a god. He played really good. I'll give him 4 out of 5 stars. And he played good.
Yeah, I feel bad. It's so crazy. You are on top of the world of football. You are the God. You are the Messiah. And you're at this club. You have this marriage. And the way this is ending is why I would never get married. Because I'm watching Camelot. It's like watching America crumble, like the Capitol siege and all that shit. Like, I
still have hope, though. As a Barca fan, I still have hope. I have hope.
What are you hoping?
I hope he stays.
Mohan,
stays in.
You know when you just said that Pep is gonna get a new forward. Lionel Messi.
Hey, you're 100% right. If Messi's gonna go anywhere, he's gonna go to his fucking favorite coach of all time. He says it all the time, Pep. And Pep loves Messi. And if Messi goes there, I feel sorry for the Premier League.
City can afford him, but they can't prove that they can afford him by financial play law. Like they can take the hit, and they, but they can't be like, we made this amount of money, so we can afford him. They can't prove that. Is that the problem?
Yeah, maybe. But I'm saying if they figure it out to get him, he's still the best fucking player in the world. He's such a crazy.
I don't know if he's the best, but
watch the game against Atletico Madrid.
I'll watch that for dinner. I'll watch the game for dinner. Neil, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Lee, shit can't get any worse, so I don't have to wish you any good luck. When's your next game? Who you playing next, Lee?
Newcastle away.
Newcastle away.
Oh.
We need something there.
They need something too.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna have the same amount of injuries?
We might have one or two back, but yeah, there'll still be people missing. I think Vestergaard's still out. Diallo might still be out as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see. I don't know if Kyle Walker-Peters is almost certainly going to be out still too, which isn't great, but yeah.
And Everton won today, so they're fighting back. West Ham. What do you guys think of West Ham beating Aston Villa, a legit team? And we talked about Jesse Lingard a little bit, but does it scare anybody?
I was surprised. They beat him.
Yeah.
I don't know why West Ham is not going away. Like I keep thinking like this is gonna be the way. This is gonna be the way. It's just like when you're in traffic and you need to get to a place. And you could be in a high, on the fast freeway, but then there's this one guy. I don't know if you guys have driven from like Miami to Keystone. It's like it's a freeway which has a great views, and speed limit is good, but it's southern Florida, full of old white people driving at the speed limit of like 30 or something, and you just stuck behind it.
Yeah.
So this is what I feel like.
That's what West Ham is.
That's what West Ham's making me feel.
The freeway in Florida.
Neil, sports is like Wild Wild West. Is the animal kingdom. You have to take their spot. They're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, I know. We tried that, and then we ended up getting scored on back-to-back weeks. So yeah.
Is that when your coach got fired?
Yeah. We have to find a more foolproof way of hacking the system.
It's hilarious. All right, so thank you all. Pleasure having you all. Everybody watching and listening, thank you for watching and listening. Like and subscribe. We'll be back next week. Good luck to your teams, unless they're playing Man U this weekend. And we'll be back, y'all. And thank you, Aaron Brungard, for producing this. And one.